Hello, Dragon Ballers! It's Dokkan, and a very common question that I am asked is this unit better at Rainbow Star than this unit? And oftentimes it pertains to a unit like, let's just go ahead and pull one up. Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black. Is my Rainbow Star AGL version better than my no dupe 55% STR version? So we're going to discuss multiple things of that nature. We're going to get into some free-to-play versions of Dokkan Fest units and talk about those. And we're just going to do 10 of these. This isn't really a top 10. This is in no particular order. It's kind of in order of interest. I don't know. Let's just get into it. So your AGL Rose at Rainbow Star is going to average about 2.1 million damage per turn. And this is everyone's being calculated on a 120% boosted team just to keep everything on an equal playing field. Because usually you're talking about swapping them out in their own individual team. So we're not going to discuss leader skills here or anything like that. We're trying to compare which unit you should run if you have one at Rainbow Star and one with no dupes. So as you can see, the STR Rose averages about 1.57 million damage per turn. So the seemingly obvious choice would be, well, the AGL Rose is better. Not necessarily. And the reason is that the STR Rose has a more defensive presence. He also gives extra defense to extreme types, and also after super attacking, boosts the attack of other extreme types. So on an extreme heavy team, the STR Rose will actually be better because he'll be boosting the other types, and the damage will kind of start to even out, or at least the amount of damage that the unit adds to the team will start to even out. And as far as the STR one goes, just that tankiness, that being able to take hits a lot better, really helps out quite a bit. But there are certain situations, like for example, on Realm of Gods, if you don't have LR Black, or Potara, if you don't have LR Black, if Rose is your only villain on the team, then the AGL one might be better. But I would say in most situations, the STR one still wins out, even at 55% with no dupes versus the Rainbow Star one. So I'm hoping that this makes sense, and I'm hoping that it makes sense as we go. Remember, it's the older/weaker unit at Rainbow Star versus the newer/better unit with no dupes. That's what we're comparing. We're not comparing them, straight up. Anyhow, so next we've got Super Saiyan 3 Goku Angel. I am so glad to finally be discussing this topic because I have so much misinformation in my comment section. It's really, truly upsetting. It's very upsetting that so many people have misled themselves to believe this thing. And so what we have here is the free-to-play version of Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku. He averages about 0.96 million damage a turn. That's less than a million. Has a hard time cracking a million, and that's because of his just random chance of his passive activating. If it does, great. If not, not so great. But at max damage, just to give him credit where credit's due, he's doing 1.4 million damage, which is pretty nice. Unfortunately for him, with no dupes, the Dokkan Fest version of this card, on average, is doing 1.45 million damage, which is more than Super Saiyan 3, than the free-to-play one, could ever do. He's at max, he's at Rainbow Star, he can't do any more than that. Now, this Goku isn't always going to do 1.45. I'm just averaging, you collect about 2 orbs per turn. Sometimes you can collect 4. So, I'm talking about rainbow orbs, of course. Sometimes you can collect 5. It's very rare, but sometimes you can. If you do collect 5, though, then this Goku can hit for 2.07 million on average, including that, little level 5 crit and all that kind of stuff. So the Dokkan Fest is a better unit in every single way, no matter how you slice it. So you can still argue with me about it in the comment section, but I think at this point, it's just you put your orbs into the unit, you're attached to it. It's hard to let go of that. It's hard to admit you are wrong, especially because it costs you so much. But you can learn from your mistakes and you can get better, like I have. And we'll discuss that in a little bit. Don't worry, we'll get there. We'll get to my mistakes. Oh yes, we will. Here's one, Gogeta. For a while, I thought that you should put crits into Gogeta. Nah, you should go additional. It's better. It's better in every way. Speaking of better in every way, we've got the STR one at Rainbow Star. He does on average 1.45 million damage when you're mostly invested in additional, and then you've got your 11 crit. The int one with no dupes, 1.66 million. There is no reason to run the STR Gogeta over the int Gogeta. The int Gogeta will always hit harder, and that's assuming that you filled out the entire dupe path. But even so, he also lowers attack and defense, so there is really no reason to ever run STR Gogeta instead of the int one. Next, we have Super Vegito. Super Vegito is a little bit interesting because the AGL one does 1.94 million damage on average. I'm giving these guys 2.5 counters per turn. That's how I'm kind of doing it. That's an average that a lot of people seem to agree on, and that's kind of what I came up with as well. And so I'm just going to go with that indefinitely until I see a reason why not to as the meta evolves. Maybe there'll be 10 attacks per turn. I don't know. But 2.5 is kind of what we're going with. 1.94 million at Rainbow Star. The AGL Vegito is hitting for nearly 2 million. That's really nice. On average, the physical one is going to be hitting for 1.7. Remember, he starts slow and then he slowly builds up the more he gets hit, right? So at max, once he's at 100%, he'll be doing 2.04 million damage when he's at his max. But keep in mind, towards the end of the battle, he'll actually be taking more hits than just 2.5. And I've only factored in for the 2.5 there. So really, realistically speaking, the physical one and the AGL one at Rainbow Star are pretty interchangeable, but I would still give it to the physical one just because he will eventually start to surpass the AGL one, and that will generally be towards the end of the battle when it really matters. But these guys are neck and neck. I'd be willing to call this one a tie, but you know, I gotta pick one, so I'm going the physical one just because the damage is close enough that you might as well. He can surpass the AGL one. All right, next we've got Broly. We've got a couple of different units to compare here because there's 3 different Brolys, but the Extreme Z Awakened Broly versus the LR Broly. At Rainbow Star, the Extreme Z Awakened Broly hits for 2.38 million on average. On average, the LR Broly with no dupes hits for 2.48 million damage. If you're able to give him his 200% key multiplier and get him his immense, or not immense, but mega colossal damage, he can hit for 3.02 million. And that's factoring in the chance for a critical hit, that level 5 critical hit chance that he has. So when you have both of these guys, there is no reason to run the EZA version over the LR version. There's just no reason to, except if you want a little more defense. In that case, the EZA one will be just fine because as far as averages are concerned, the damage is close enough. But just because the LR can do so much more damage, I would lean more towards that. Now, let's say you've got the physical one at Rainbow Star and you've got the Extreme Z Awakened one, but he's got no dupes in him. So this brings the Extreme Z Awakened one down to 1.63 million damage on average, and the physical one is 1.65 million. I would go with the EZA one because he has a much more defensive presence and the damage is just about the same. You're not really going to notice that 20,000 extra damage. It's not going to factor in 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100. It's not going to factor in. So having that extra defensive presence makes the EZA one better, in my opinion. Now we get to talk about my biggest mistake of all, Vegito Blue. For a while, I was the guy that shat on Tech Vegito Blue and put LR Vegito Blue on a pedestal, and then I was taught a few things. So let's discuss. So comparing the LR Vegito Blue, who of course, you can max out pretty easily since he's a free unit, versus the Tech Vegito Blue. On average, the LR is going to be doing 2.5 million damage. On average, the Tech one is going to be doing 2.15 million damage. So seemingly the LR one is better, but As you go through the battle, the Tech Vegito Blue, the more he super attacks, the more he raises his defense, he will eventually be just as tanky as the LR Vegito Blue. And when we talk about max, if you get LR Vegito Blue to his 200% multiplier and his mega colossal damage, and you've gotten a couple of his 20% boost up beforehand, he can get up to 3.09 million. That's the max amount of damage that he can do, factoring in all of his crit stuff. Like, I'm not giving him pure crits. It's just factoring in that he has a 20% crit chance. And then the tech one is at 3.03 at max. Now, the thing is that the Tech Vegito Blue will always be at 3.03. Always. With the LR Vegito Blue, you have to kind of force that to happen. And it's not always easy. Sometimes orbs, aren't in your favor. And as far as getting through events, you don't really need to be hitting super hard in the beginning. What really matters is towards the end of the battle. And that's why I would say that the Tech Vegito Blue just barely takes the edge over a Rainbow Starred LR Vegito Blue. Just barely though, but you could use either one. It kind of depends on the link set. It really comes down to if you have Prepare for Battle or Over in a Flash. Now I'll tell you where that really doesn't matter so much is when comparing the physical one to the tech one. The physical one is inferior to the LR one as far as damage output is concerned and as far as defensive capabilities. He averages 2.41 million damage. Obviously that can go up if he gets all of his super attacks off, if he, counters a bunch more attacks, but he also takes a lot of damage when he's countering those attacks. So it's not exactly a great trade-off for the most part. So in this case, I would say that the Tech Vegito Blue wins out. They both have Over in a Flash, so that's kind of something that that can make them very interchangeable. But, once again, if you need Prepare for Battle, if you've got the Rainbow Star Physical Vegito Blue, but you don't have the LR one, if you just don't have the Potara medals or can't obtain them for whatever reason, then yeah, sure. But for the most part, I would say even with no dupes, the Tech one still beats both of these units out. Just because at the end of the battle, he's going to be hitting really, really hard. But really, the three of these units are the closest as far as how interchangeable they are. They serve different purposes, they do different things, but the damage is relatively the same across the board, relatively. So, and keep in mind, the physical one will be hitting harder towards the end of the battle because he'll be taking more hits. This is just an average. So, let's talk about Vegeta and Bulma. A lot of these were suggested by people from the Discord who, I said, hey, I've got a couple of these units that I'm talking about. Can you help me out? Come up with like what you would like to see. And this is one that I just thought was fun. It's the Vegeta and Bulma. If you've Rainbow Starred your AGL one, but oh no, you pull the STR one, is your Rainbow Star AGL Vegeta and Bulma better than your no dupe 55% STR version? No, not even a little. The AGL one will average 1.41 million damage per turn, whereas the STR one will average 2.13 million damage per turn. It's really no competition. It's no competition at all. The Vegeta and Bulma has similar stats at Rainbow Star versus the other one with no dupes, but half the boost in the passive and 2/3 of the damage with the counters. So it's not even close. Now here's a fun one. Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. This one's very interesting. If you have the INT one at Rainbow Star and you have the AGL one but no dupes, which is something that I think is pretty common. A lot of people would probably have this situation going on in your box, and you might be wondering, like for Realm of Gods, which one do I run? This one's at Rainbow Star, but this one's the newer and better unit. So Rainbow Star into Vegeta, 1.74 million damage per turn. However, the AGL one averages about 1.59 million damage per turn. But keep in mind, if he does get his transformation mechanic off and gets all the way up to his 70% crit chance, dude is now looking at 2.61 million damage. So, when you look at it at 1.59, 1.74, they're not that far off for averages. I would say take the chance of getting that evolve off with the AGL one. So in this case, I would still say the AGL one wins out. But, you know, if you want the sure thing with that little bit of extra damage, there's nothing inherently wrong with running the Int one. But the AGL one's probably going to transform, and then that's, you know, what you're looking at the end of the battle. And once again, that's what's really important. Now, this one was fun because it was this is probably the most interesting one to me personally, because the physical future Gohan is not that great of a unit. And I've said this a couple of times, and I haven't caught any flack for it yet, which I'm surprised by, because usually somebody gets upset by just mathematical facts that disagree with like the character they like, or their own personal experiences and all that kind of stuff. So Future Gohan, the tech version at Rainbow Star, on average does not clear 1 million. He'll do 0.9 million damage, whereas the physical one barely clears 1 million at no dupes, doing 1.13 million on average. Now, if the Tech Future Gohan has his passive activated, which is when you're below 80% HP, which you can realistically force to happen, you know, he's got all of his links active and all of that kind of stuff. He'll be hitting for 1.3 million. Very nice there. On average, of course, that's, you know, factoring in the dupe investment and all of that kind of stuff. And then the physical one, 1.25 million. So the Tech Future Gohan technically can surpass the physical one at Rainbow Star. I found that very interesting. They both have a mechanic that raises their super attack every turn, but the tech one can surpass the physical one if the battle is long enough. Now, of course, this is tech at Rainbow Star and physical with no dupes, so just keep that in mind at all times. Last one, this one is the fun one. Super Saiyan 3 Goku. We've got the Extreme Z Awakened version, and we've got an LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku. The EZA one is an old unit. You could very well have this guy at Rainbow Star, but I've only pulled one LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So which one do you use on your Super Saiyan 3 team? Well, let's look at averages first. Super Saiyan 3, or the EZA Goku, hits for 2.22 million damage on average, whereas the LR hits for 2.08 million damage on average. Now, assuming that the battle is short enough that the Super Saiyan 3 Goku's passive never runs out, he's really hitting for 2.49. The reason his average is low is because I factor in that your battle might take 10 turns. It might. A lot of times with these newer Dokkan Fest, sometimes it can take up to 10 turns. So that's what brings him down a little bit, is that his passive will run out on the last turn. And that's a really, really bad thing to have happen. Now with LR Goku, he does struggle to get off his 180% boost because he needs to be at his 18 key super attack. But if he does, then he can be doing 3.2 million damage. And just because he has a failsafe, if he doesn't get off his Mega Colossal super attack and doesn't get that 180% boost, he tanks really well. The EZA Goku, once his passive runs out, he doesn't tank anymore. He doesn't hit hard. Actually, no, he still tanks, but he doesn't hit hard anymore, and he's just kind of there. You know what I mean? So with the LR Goku, he's inconsistent in the way that if your orbs aren't set up properly, then, you know, you're going to have a hard time super attacking with him. And with the EZA one, it's just, he's going to run out towards the end of the battle. So it's really up to you at that point, but I would still go with the LR Goku, just because it is pretty easy to set up orbs for him once you get to the final boss, because that's one that takes the longest. The orbs don't reset against the final boss, and you can set up for him a lot easier than, say, if you beat one stage and move on to the next and you have a whole new board of orbs that you have to set up for. That's what really hurts LR Goku, and that's where the EZA Goku will do better. But end game, at the very end of the battle, LR Goku has the advantage in every single way. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it made sense. I tried to explain it. I was a little concerned because I tried to explain it in the Discord, and a lot of people were getting confused by my wording. So I think I have it figured out, but I hope this all makes sense. Remember, it's the old unit at Rainbow Star, the new unit at 55% no dupes. And, oh, the other thing is I just factored in, I said all of their links are active. Screw it. Every link they have available, it's all active. Just because, you know, that's part of it. part of it is the options they have for link sets. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, all that kind of stuff. If you're interested in the Discord, that's in the description, as well as my Twitter. You can follow me there. Various other links, just, you know, look at them if you want, or don't. I don't care. It's your life. Do what you want to do, man, or gal, whichever. Based on my demographic, it's there's a 98% chance that you're a man, though. Kind of a sausage fest up in here. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next one.